Chosen one, lock your focus on this voice right now. Quiet your spirit and listen. There is a reason you have felt a strange, suffocating heaviness in your chest for the last few days. Specifically, when you think about your current situation, you have been rebuking it as an attack from the enemy. You have been praying for peace to return. But God blocked your prayer. Why? Because that heaviness isn't spiritual warfare. It is a divine eviction. Notice, you are waiting for a green light to leave. The discomfort is the green light. God has made your environment toxic because your lease has officially expired. He is disturbing your sleep and shaking your cage for one urgent reason. If you stay where you are comfortably one day longer, you will miss the portal that is opening for you right now. The time for waiting is over. The time to move is this very second. Let us be honest about what this heaviness actually feels like. I want you to go to that specific moment where the feeling is strongest. You know the one. It is that moment you pull your car into the parking lot of that job you used to love. You turn off the ignition and you just sit there. Your hands are gripping the steering wheel, but you can't make yourself open the door. You feel a physical weight pressing down on your sternum, like the air inside the car has suddenly turned into lead. Or maybe it is when you walk into your own home. You step through the front door, and instead of peace, you feel a sudden drop in your stomach. You look at the people around the dinner table, people you love, people you would die for, but you feel like a stranger watching a movie of someone else's family. You are physically present, but spiritually, you are 1,000 miles away, screaming for an exit that you cannot see. You have been calling this depression. You have been calling it anxiety. You have been asking God, what is wrong with you? But listen to me. There is nothing wrong with you. That nausea you feel is not a sickness. It is a biological rejection. Your spirit has grown too large for the container you are trying to squeeze it into, and now the walls are closing in. But before I explain exactly why God is allowing this suffocation, stay with me until the very end of this message. This is not just a diagnosis. This is an extraction plan. By the end of this video, you will have the 3-day detachment rule to cut the emotional cords that are strangling you. You will have the full map of the 7 forms of resistance that will try to stop you in the next 40 days. And you will receive the Ark Protocol for building your new life in silence. Do not leave halfway through, or you will have the surgery without the stitches. You need the full protocol to survive this shift. Now let us go deeper into why this is happening. You have been taught that when the enemy attacks, he brings chaos. So when your life suddenly became chaotic, you assumed it was the devil trying to destroy you. You thought the sudden toxicity at work, the friends who suddenly turned cold, the finances that suddenly dried up, were all weapons formed against you. But you are misreading the signs. That is not the enemy attacking your blessing. That is God destroying your nest. There is a powerful image in Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 11 that explains exactly where you are right now. The scripture describes God like an eagle stirring up its nest. Most people read that and think of a mother bird fluffing the pillows to make the babies comfortable. But that is not what an eagle does. When it is time for the eaglets to fly, the mother eagle does not make the nest softer. She makes it unbearable. She starts pulling out the soft fur and the comfortable wool that lined the nest, exposing the sharp sticks and the jagged thorns underneath. She deliberately makes the environment painful. Why? Because if the nest stays comfortable, the baby eagle will never leave. It will stay there happy and safe until it dies of starvation, because it was created to hunt in the skies, not sit in a tree. Chosen one, look at your life right now. God is exposing the thorns. That job that used to fulfill you has become a thorn. That relationship that used to comfort you has become a thorn. That city that used to feel like home has become a thorn. God is not being cruel. He is being a father. He knows that your loyalty to your comfort zone is stronger than your desire for your destiny. So he is removing the option of comfort. He is making it more painful to stay than it is to leave. He is using this discomfort to push you out of the nest, because he knows that the moment you fall, you will realize you have wings. So stop praying for God to remove the thorns. Stop praying for the boss to be nice again. Stop praying for the environment to go back to how it was 3 years ago. That season is dead, and God never resurrects a season he has finished. He is issuing a divine eviction notice. He is saying, "You cannot stay here because I have nothing left for you here. The provision has moved, the grace has lifted, and the cloud of my presence is already heading toward the wilderness. If you stay in the nest, you stay alone." But I know what you're thinking. You understand why you're in pain. You understand that God is pushing you, but you still cannot move. You try to pack your bags, and your hands freeze. You try to put in your notice, and your throat closes up. Why? If God is saying go, and the pain is saying go, why are you still stuck? It is not because you are weak. It is because there is a secret biological mechanism hidden deep in your nervous system that is overriding your will to leave. It is a trap that has caught the greatest men and women of God in history, and it is holding you hostage right now without you even realizing it. That biological mechanism holding you hostage is what I call the frequency mismatch. You have been looking for a demon to rebuke, but you are fighting the wrong battle. This is not about spiritual warfare, it is about spiritual physics. Let me explain this so your logical mind can finally stop fighting your spirit. Imagine for a moment the medical procedure of an organ transplant. When a doctor places a new heart into a patient, the biggest danger is not the surgery itself. The biggest danger is rejection. If the biological frequency of the new heart does not match the frequency of the host body, the body will identify the heart as a foreign object. It will attack it. It will try to kill it. Not because the heart is bad, and not because the body is evil, but because they are simply incompatible. Chosen one, listen to me. This is exactly what is happening to you right now. For the last season of your life, you have gone through intense spiritual surgery. God has been upgrading your internal operating system. He has changed your desires. He has elevated your vision. He has purified your motives. You are literally not the same person you were 3 years ago. You are a new heart. But you are still trying to live inside the old body. You are trying to function in a workplace, a relationship, or a city that matches who you used to be, not who you are now. And because you have changed, the environment is now identifying you as a foreign object. That tension you feel when you walk into the room, that sudden drop in energy when you answer the phone, that is not just annoyance. That is the environment attacking you because you no longer belong there. You are vibrating at a frequency of expansion, while your environment is vibrating at a frequency of stagnation. And physics dictates that two opposing frequencies cannot occupy the same space without chaos. The environment is trying to eject you to return to its own equilibrium. You think you are holding on to stability, but you are actually holding on to a system that is actively trying to kill your potential. You are trying to force compatibility where God has ordained separation. I want you to see this clearly. Look at the person you were before this test began. That version of you fit perfectly in this environment. That version of you could laugh at their jokes, could tolerate their gossip, could accept their limitations. But that version of you is dead. God buried that version in the wilderness. And the version of you that rose from the ashes is too big for this cage. You are trying to shrink yourself back down to fit into a box that God has already crushed. You are apologizing for your growth by staying in a place that punishes it. Let me tell you about someone who stood exactly where you are standing right now. I will not use his real name, but his story is the blueprint of what happens when you hesitate. Let us call him David. David was a graphic designer who felt the shift coming 2 years before he actually moved. He had a stable job, good benefits, nice colleagues. On paper, it was perfect. But every morning at 7:30, when his alarm went off, he felt a wave of nausea so strong he had to sit on the edge of his bed and breathe for 10 minutes just to stand up. He prayed against it. He rebuked it. He fasted. But the nausea got worse. He told himself he was being responsible. He told himself he would leave once he had 6 months of savings. He told himself he would leave once the economy got better. He waited for the perfect time. And while he waited, the environment began to consume him. The nausea turned into chronic migraines. The migraines turned into ulcers. He spent more money on doctors in that final year than he saved for his exit. He was trading his health for a paycheck that barely covered the cost of his misery. Then one Tuesday afternoon, he was sitting in a meeting listening to his boss talk about Q3 projections, and suddenly the sound of the boss' voice sounded like distorted static. David looked down at his hands, and they were trembling uncontrollably. In that moment of raw, terrifying clarity, he realized something. He realized that the cost of staying had finally exceeded the fear of leaving. He realized he was paying for this safety with his life. He stood up, walked out of the meeting, went to his desk, packed a single box, and resigned. He did not have a plan. He did not have the savings he wanted. He walked out to his car and wept for an hour. The first 3 weeks were silent. Terrifyingly silent. The enemy whispered that he had made a mistake. The enemy whispered that he would lose his home. But then something shifted. Because he had removed the static of the old frequency, he could finally hear the new one. On week 4, he received an email from a former client he had not spoken to in 5 years. That client had started a new agency and was looking for a partner. Not an employee, but a partner. The contract they offered David was not just double his old salary, it was for a project that aligned perfectly with the dream God had given him years ago. David looked at the contract and realized the truth. The entire time he was waiting for God to open a door, God was waiting for him to walk out of the room. The blessing was not in the room he was praying in. The blessing was in the hallway he was too afraid to enter. Staying did not save him money. Staying cost him 2 years of his destiny. He thought he was being prudent, but heaven saw it as disobedience. You see, chosen one God has a specific way of handling these transitions, and it is terrifying if you do not understand the intention behind it. We need to go back to the manual. We need to look at Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 11. You have likely heard this verse quoted about God bearing you up on eagle wings, but we rarely talk about what happens before the flight. The scripture says, "As an eagle stirs up its nest, so the Lord leads his people." I want you to visualize this. The eagle builds its nest high in the cliffs. It builds the foundation with sharp, jagged rocks and thorns. Then it covers those thorns with layers of soft wool, animal fur, and feathers. It creates a sanctuary of comfort for the young eaglets. For weeks, the babies sit there fed and warm, protected from the wind. They love the nest. They believe the nest is their entire world. But there comes a day when the mother eagle knows that if they stay in the nest any longer, they will never become what they were created to be. They were not created to be sitters. They were created to be kings of the sky. So the mother eagle does something that looks like madness. She does not bring more food. She does not bring more feathers. She begins to tear the nest apart. She starts pulling out the soft wool. She rips away the comfortable fur. She exposes the sharp rocks and the thorns that were hidden underneath. Imagine the confusion of the baby eagle. It is sitting in the only home it has ever known, and suddenly something sharp pokes its side. It tries to move to the left, but there is another thorn. It tries to move to the right, but the floor has become jagged. The baby eagle cries out. It wonders why its mother has turned against it. It wonders what it did wrong to deserve this pain. It tries to fix the nest, but the mother keeps destroying it. The baby eagle is now standing on the edge of the cliff, trembling, not because it wants to fly, but because the pain of staying in the nest has become greater than the fear of the drop. And that is exactly where God wants it. The mother eagle is not being cruel. She is using discomfort as a propellant. She knows that as long as the nest is comfortable, the baby will never jump. And if it never jumps, it will never know that it has wings. Chosen one, this is your biography right now. You are crying out about the thorns in your back. You are asking God why He allowed your friends to betray you. You are asking why the finances dried up. You are asking why the peace has left your home. And God is saying, I did not allow it. I orchestrated it. I am stirring the nest. I am exposing the thorns. I am making it impossible for you to get comfortable again because I have seen your wings and you have not. I am removing the wool so you will choose the sky. The logic is sound. You can feel the truth of it resonating in your bones. Your body is rejecting the environment because you are a transplant. Your circumstances are thorny because the nest is being stirred. Logic says leave. Reason says move. Biology says get out. But even as I speak these words, I can feel the resistance in your heart. Your mind is nodding yes, but your chest is still heavy. Why? Because there is one final trap that is stronger than fear and stronger than comfort. It is a trap that disguises itself as a virtue. It is a trap that makes you feel like a righteous person for disobeying God. It is the trap of moral guilt. You are telling yourself that leaving makes you a bad person. You are telling yourself that you are abandoning people who need you. You think this loyalty is your crown, but I am here to tell you it is your cage. And if we do not perform surgery on this guilt right now, it will drag you back into the nest, no matter how sharp the thorns become. We need to perform emergency surgery right now on the single biggest block that is keeping you paralyzed. It is not fear of the unknown. It is not lack of money. It is a twisted sense of loyalty that has expired. You are terrified of becoming the villain in someone else's story. You are terrified that if you move, if you upgrade, if you step into your calling, you will be labeled as arrogant, selfish, or ungrateful. You are holding on to people and places, not because you love them, but because you are afraid of the guilt you will feel if you let them go. Let us define what expired loyalty actually is. Loyalty is a virtue when it is directed toward a living covenant. But loyalty directed toward a dead season is not a virtue. It is idolatry. You are worshipping the history you have with someone more than the destiny God has for you. Imagine you broke your leg years ago. The doctor put a cast on it. That cast was essential. It protected you. It supported you. You were loyal to that cast because it was keeping you safe. But now the leg is healed, the bone is strong. If you keep wearing that cast out of loyalty to how much it helped you, that cast will begin to rot your skin. It will cause your muscles to atrophy. The very thing that saved you in one season will destroy you in the next if you do not take it off. You have people in your life right now who were your cast. They supported you when you were broken. They were there when you were lonely, and you love them for it. But you are healed now. You have grown, and you are trying to walk into a new season, dragging a cast that smells like your old wounds. You feel guilty taking it off because you think you are rejecting the help. You are not rejecting the help, you are acknowledging the healing. Keeping them close when you have outgrown the connection is not love. It is a lie. You are lying to them by pretending you are still the person they used to know. I want you to listen to the voice of the accuser in your head right now. We are going to drag this shadow out into the light. It is the voice that speaks up every time you think about setting a boundary or packing a box. It says, "Who do you think you are?" It says, "You have changed." It says, "You are forgetting where you came from." It says, "After everything we did for you, this is how you repay us." That voice triggers a very specific physical reaction in you. I want you to notice it. It is that tightening in your throat when you try to say no. It is the urge to over-explain yourself. You find yourself typing long text messages justifying your decisions, trying to make them understand, trying to get their permission to evolve. You are exhausted from managing their emotions while suppressing your own. Here is the truth that will set you free from this trap. You cannot save a drowning person if you are drowning with them. The only way to save anyone is to get on the boat. You leaving is not an act of betrayal. It is an act of obedience to God. And obedience to God will often look like betrayal to people who are comfortable in your stagnation. Jesus himself was called a glutton and a drunkard. Joseph was called a traitor by his brothers. David was called arrogant by his own family. If you are going to carry the mantle of a chosen one, you have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be okay with being the bad guy in the version of the story they tell to comfort themselves. Stop trying to convince them that you are doing the right thing. Their spirits are not tuned to your frequency, so your explanation sounds like noise to them. You are trying to explain color to someone who is committed to seeing in black and white. Save your breath. Your results will do the explaining later. Right now, you need to sever the emotional cord of guilt. I want you to do a mental action with me right now. Do not close your eyes if you are driving, but shift your focus inward. Visualize the person or the place that uses guilt to keep you stuck. See them standing in front of you holding a heavy chain. That chain is attached to your ankle. On the links of that chain are written words like obligation, guilt, past, and debt. They are holding onto it tight, terrified that if you leave, they will have to face their own emptiness. Now, I want you to visualize a sword of blue fire in your hand. This is the sword of the Spirit. In your mind, I want you to raise that sword and swing it down on the chain. Not on the person, but on the chain. See the chain shatter. Hear the sound of the metal breaking. Watch the links dissolve into dust. Now look at the person. They are not hurt, but they are no longer holding you. You are free. And more importantly, they are free to find their own path without using you as a crutch. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, blow that dust away. That guilt does not belong to you anymore. It is done. But there is a warning here. A warning written in fire and brimstone in the book of Genesis. We need to look at the story of Lot's wife. You know the story. God sent angels to extract Lot and his family from the city of Sodom before it was destroyed. The angels gave them a specific command: flee for your lives and do not look back. We often think Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt just because she was curious. We think she just glanced over her shoulder to see the explosion. But the context implies something much deeper. In the Hebrew culture and language, looking back was not just a movement of the head, it was a movement of the heart. It implied longing. It implied checking to see if there was anything left to save. Lot's wife had physically left the city. Her feet were moving toward the mountain. Her body was outside the gates. But her soul was still in Sodom. She was thinking about her home. She was thinking about her friends. She was thinking about the life she had built. She was loyal to a city that God had sentenced to death. She was trying to preserve a connection that heaven had severed. And because she tried to preserve the past, she became a monument to it. Salt is a preservative. She became a pillar of salt, a frozen statue of preservation standing in the middle of a wasteland. She stopped moving. She stopped growing. She stopped living. She became a permanent warning sign for every believer who tries to move forward while looking backward. Chosen one, you are in danger of becoming a pillar of salt. You have left the situation mentally. You may have even left physically. But emotionally, you are still looking back. You are stalking their social media. You are replaying old conversations. You are wondering if you made a mistake. You are grieving the loss of potential instead of celebrating the gain of freedom. You cannot drag the corpse of your past into the delivery room of your future. If you keep looking back, you will freeze right where you are. The grace to move is for your feet, not for your memory. God is saying, do not look back. Do not wonder if they are okay without you. Do not wonder if you could have done more. You did enough. You gave enough. You bled enough. It is finished. Sodom is burning not because God hates it, but because it has nothing left to offer the righteous. If you turn back, your heart will be consumed by the same fire that destroys the city. You have to steel your face like flint toward the mountain. The guilt you feel is the gravity of Sodom trying to pull you back into the blast zone. Cut it. Sever it. Burn the bridge so you cannot retreat, even if you wanted to. Now I can feel the shift in your spirit. The heaviness is lifting. The guilt is dissolving. You realize that your loyalty belongs to God first, and everything else is secondary. You are ready to move. Your bags are packed in the spirit. Your shoes are on your feet. But there is one last thing holding you back. One last hesitation. You are waiting for the sign. You are telling yourself, I will move the moment God gives me a clear, undeniable sign. I will step out when the writing is on the wall. You are looking for a dove to descend. You are looking for a check in the mail. You are looking for a prophet to knock on your door. But I have to tell you a shocking truth about the sign you are waiting for. You have been missing it because you are looking for a green light, but God has sent you something completely different. If I tell you what the sign really is, it will scare you at first, but then it will set you entirely free. You are not waiting for the sign, chosen one. The sign has been screaming at you for months, and you have been trying to rebuke it. The sign you have been waiting for, the confirmation you have been begging heaven to send, is not coming in the way you expect. You have been looking for peace. You have been looking for a sense of calm assurance. You have been waiting for the waters to part before you step in. But here is the brutal truth that will save your life. The discomfort you are feeling right now is the sign. The anxiety is the confirmation. The chaos is the green light. You have been tricked into believing that God only leads through peace. And while He is the Prince of Peace, He is also a man of war. When He wants you to rest, He gives you peace. But when He wants you to move, He gives you disturbance. You are sitting in a burning building, waiting for the fire alarm to stop ringing so you can leave peacefully. But the alarm is ringing to save you. The heat is rising to force you out. If you felt peace right now, you would stay and you would burn. God has removed His peace from this season of your life, not because He has left you, but because He is trying to make you leave. He has allowed the situation to become unbearable because He knows your threshold for pain is high. You are a survivor. You can endure a lot. So He had to dial up the pressure to a level you could not ignore. The fact that you are miserable is the proof that you are ready. The fact that you are frustrated is the proof that you are overqualified for this level. Stop rebuking the discomfort and start thanking God for it. It is the only thing honest enough to push you into your destiny. You say you are waiting on the Lord. It sounds so spiritual. It sounds so pious. But I am here to challenge that spirit of delay. You are not waiting on the Lord. The Lord is waiting on you. You are parked at a green light praying for it to turn green. It is already green. The engine is running. The door is open. And heaven is looking at you, wondering why you are still asking for permission to do what you were created to do. We need to look at a moment in Scripture that terrifies religious people because it shatters our understanding of prayer. We need to go to Exodus chapter 14, verse 15. The Israelites are trapped. Pharaoh and his army of chariots are thundering behind them. The Red Sea is locked in front of them. It is a death trap. They are terrified. And Moses, the great leader, does what any good religious leader would do. He starts praying. He cries out to God. He intercedes. And then God does something shocking. He interrupts the prayer meeting. He cuts Moses off mid-sentence. Listen to what God says in Exodus 14:15. The Lord said to Moses, "Why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward. Let that sink in." God is asking, why are you praying to me? This is the moment where we realize that sometimes prayer can be an act of disobedience. If God has already given you a command to move, stopping to pray for confirmation is not spiritual, it is rebellion. It is fear disguised as intercession. God was saying, Moses, I have already given you the rod. I have already given you the promise. I have already told you I will deliver you. Why are you standing there crying out to me as if I haven't equipped you? Stop talking to me and start talking to the situation. The Hebrew word used here for go forward is nasa. It is a verb that implies pulling up tent stakes. It means to break camp. It is an action of departure. God was not telling them to wait for the water to split. He was telling them to break camp and march toward the water while it was still wet. He was telling them to move before the miracle manifested. This is the reversal you need to get in your spirit. You think the order is miracle, then move. God says the order is move, then miracle. The Red Sea did not split while they were standing still on the beach. It split when Moses lifted the rod and the people stepped forward. The miracle was triggered by the momentum. You are standing on the beach of your destiny, crying out to God for a bridge. And God is saying, I am not going to build a bridge. I am going to split the ocean, but I will not do it until you start walking. You are the catalyst. Your movement is the key that unlocks the supernatural. If you stay still, the sea stays closed and Pharaoh catches you. If you move, the sea opens and Pharaoh drowns. The safety is not in the waiting. The safety is in the movement. So I am declaring over you right now, the season of crying out is over. The season of begging for signs is over. You have your sign. The sign is the fire in your spirit. The sign is the pain in your environment. The sign is the silence of God when you ask for permission to stay. He is silent because he has already spoken. He said, go. Now that we have shattered the illusion of waiting, we have to deal with the practical reality of how to leave. You cannot just rip yourself out of a season physically if you are still entangled spiritually. You need a protocol. You need a clean break. If you leave physically but leave your energy behind, you will just recreate the same toxic environment in your new location. I am going to give you the first step of the 3-day detachment rule. This is not about packing boxes yet. This is about packing your spirit. This is about retracting your energy from the places and people that no longer deserve it. Step 1 is what I call the frequency purge. Objects hold energy, spaces hold memories, and right now your environment is filled with anchors that are weighing you down to the old timeline. You have gifts from people who betrayed you. You have clothes you wore during your season of depression. You have papers and notes on your desk that belong to projects that died years ago. Every time you look at them, your subconscious mind is pulled back into the past. You are trying to fly, but you are tethered to the ground by these physical objects. I want you to take a mental walk with me right now. Do not move your body, just move your mind. I want you to visualize the room you spend the most time in. Maybe it is your bedroom, maybe it is your office. Walk into that room in your mind. Look around. Scan the shelves. Scan the closet. Look at the desk. I want you to identify one object, just one for now, that gives you a bad feeling in your gut when you look at it. Maybe it is a photo. Maybe it is a shirt. Maybe it is a stack of papers. That object is a cursed antique in the museum of your history. It is radiating the frequency of the old season. It is a landing strip for the enemy to land his thoughts of guilt and nostalgia. In your mind, I want you to see yourself picking that object up. Feel the weight of it. Acknowledge that it served a purpose once, but that purpose is over. Now, visualize yourself placing it into a trash bag. Tie the bag, seal it. Feel the room getting lighter. Feel the air clearing. You are not just cleaning a room. You are evicting a spirit. Your assignment today, when this video ends, is to do this in the physical realm. You must remove the physical anchors if you want the spiritual balloon to rise. You cannot take the monuments of Egypt into the promised land. If you keep the souvenirs of your slavery, you will eventually return to the slave master. Purge the space, clear the atmosphere, make room for the new thing God is trying to bring in. You have now made the decision. You have accepted that the discomfort is your green light. You have realized that waiting is disobedience. You have started the process of detachment. You are standing on the edge of the Red Sea, raising your staff ready to march. But I must warn you, this is the most dangerous moment of the entire journey. The moment you actually decide to move, the moment you take that first real step toward your exit, the enemy will stop ignoring you and start hunting you. He was content to let you suffer while you were stagnant, but now that you are moving, you are a threat. He has a playbook. He has a specific set of strategies designed to make you turn around and run back to Egypt. In the next 40 days, you are going to face 7 specific forms of resistance. These are not random bad days. These are calculated sniper shots aimed at your weakest points. If you do not know what they are, you will think you have made a mistake. You will think God has left you. You will panic. But if you have the intelligence briefing, if you know exactly what is coming, you will walk through the fire and not smell like smoke. You have decided to move. You have mentally packed your bags. You have purged the cursed objects from your room. But now comes the part of the journey that no one warns you about. The moment you step out of the camp of stagnation, you do not just walk into a meadow, you walk into a war zone. You see, when you were sitting still, the enemy did not need to waste ammunition on you. You were contained. You were harmless. But the second you decided to execute a divine eviction, you became a moving target. And the enemy has a very specific playbook designed to force you back into your cage. For the next 40 days, you are going to experience a level of resistance that feels personal. It feels targeted. And if you are not careful, you will interpret this resistance as a sign that you made a mistake. You will think God has left you. But I am here to give you the battlefield intelligence. I am going to expose the 7 forms of resistance that are waiting for you. This is not to scare you. This is to arm you. When you see these things happen, I want you to smile and say, I was expecting you. The first form of resistance is the most painful because it comes from the people you love. I call this the guilt trip. The enemy knows he cannot stop you with force, so he will try to stop you with feelings. Within 48 hours of you deciding to shift, you will receive a text message, a phone call, or a visit from someone close to you. It might be a parent, a best friend, or a partner. And they will say things that are designed to target your specific insecurities. They will say things like, "We are just worried about you. You are acting different lately." Or they might play the victim card saying, "After all we have been through together, you are just going to leave." They will bring up old debts. They will remind you of times they helped you. They will weaponize their own sadness to make you feel like a criminal for wanting to grow. I want you to zoom into that moment right now. Imagine your phone buzzing. You look at the screen and see that name. Your stomach drops. You feel that familiar wave of obligation washing over you. You start typing a long apology in your head. Stop. That is the trap. The enemy is using their voice to speak his agenda. He is trying to use your empathy against you. Here is your countermove. I want you to perform a mental action right now. Imagine you are wearing a vest made of bulletproof glass. It is invisible, but it is impenetrable. When those words of guilt come at you, visualize them hitting the glass and shattering. They cannot touch your heart. You do not need to fight back. You do not need to explain yourself. You just need to stand behind the glass. Your standard response to the guilt trip should be silence or a simple statement of fact. I am doing what is best for me. Do not engage in the debate. You cannot win a debate with a spirit of manipulation. The second form of resistance is what I call the financial mirage. This one is subtle, and it catches 70% of chosen ones. The moment you decide to leave your job or your city because you know God has something bigger, suddenly the old system will offer you a raise. Suddenly that boss who ignored you for 3 years calls you into the office and offers you a promotion. Suddenly a small unexpected check arrives in the mail, but it is tied to you staying where you are. This looks like a blessing. You might even be tempted to say, "Look, God is restoring my finances right where I am." No, that is not a blessing. That is a bribe. Pharaoh is trying to negotiate. He is saying, "I will give you a little bit more straw if you just keep making bricks for me." The enemy is terrified of the abundance God has for you in the promised land, so he is trying to buy your destiny for a 5% raise. He is trying to get you to sell your birthright for a bowl of soup. I want you to picture yourself starving in a desert. Someone walks up to you with a loaf of bread. It smells delicious. But inside that bread is a sleeping pill that will put you in a coma for another 10 years. That is what this financial offer is. It is poison wrapped in provision. When this offer comes, and it will come, I want you to ask yourself one question. Does this money come with a chain? If the money requires you to stay in the environment that is killing your spirit, it is not from God. Reject it. Do not negotiate with it. The wealth waiting for you on the other side of your obedience makes this offer look like pennies. Do not insult God by settling for the devil's counteroffer. The third form of resistance is perhaps the most confusing. I call it the false comfort. This is psychological gaslighting at its finest. For months or years, your environment has been toxic. The people have been mean. The atmosphere has been heavy. That is why you decided to leave. But the moment you make the internal decision to go, suddenly everything changes. The toxic boss starts being nice to you. The fighting in your relationship stops. The atmosphere feels lighter. You wake up and you do not feel the heaviness. And the thought creeps into your mind, maybe I was overreacting, maybe it isn't so bad, maybe I should stay and see if things get better. Listen to me closely. This is the eye of the storm. The enemy has withdrawn the pressure temporarily to make you doubt your discernment. He is trying to make you feel crazy. He wants you to believe that the toxicity was all in your head. It is a trap. If you stay because of this false peace, within 2 weeks, the storm will return twice as hard, and you will be trapped even deeper. Do not trust the sudden change in weather. A toxic system does not heal itself overnight. A toxic person does not change their character just because you decided to leave. They are sensing your withdrawal, and they are love-bombing you to hook you back in. Stand firm on what you knew when the storm was raging. Do not make long-term decisions based on a temporary break in the clouds. These first 3 forms of resistance, the guilt trip, the financial mirage, and the false comfort, are easy to spot once you know them. They are external. They come from outside of you. But the next forms of resistance are different. They are internal. They are silent assassins that sneak into your bedroom at night and whisper in your own voice. Most chosen ones survive the guilt. They survive the bribe. They survive the fake peace. But then they get hit by the 4th and 5th attacks. These attacks are so subtle, so precise, and so devastating that 90% of people collapse right here, just steps away from the exit. You need to know exactly what they look like, because they are coming for you tonight. The 4th form of resistance is what I call the identity crisis. This is the first internal assassin. It usually hits around day 10 of your transition. You have survived the guilt. You have rejected the money, but now you are sitting alone in silence, and a thought enters your mind that chills your blood. Who am I without them? You realize that for years your entire identity was built around being the helper, the fixer, the savior for broken people. Without a crisis to solve, you feel empty. Without someone needing you, you feel invisible. The enemy uses this vacuum to make you run back to the chaos just to feel useful again. He whispers, "You are nothing without your struggle. You are boring without your drama. Fight this." You are not a crisis manager, you are a king in training. Your identity is not in what you fix, it is in who you are. Stand in the void and let God fill it. Do not fill it with old problems. The 5th form of resistance is the spirit of comparison. As soon as you step out into the wilderness to build your new life, the enemy will flood your social media feed with highlight reels of everyone you left behind. You will see them partying, you will see them succeeding, you will see them looking happier without you, and the lie will come, "Look, they are doing fine. You were the problem. You are the one suffering while they are thriving." Do not be deceived. That is a curated illusion. That is a filter over a fracture. The enemy wants you to compare your raw beginning with their fake middle. Keep your eyes on your own paper. Their timeline is not your business. Your business is the ark you are building. The 6th form of resistance is the physical crash. This is biological. When you leave a high-stress environment, your body goes into withdrawal. You have been running on adrenaline and cortisol for so years that when you finally stop fighting, your immune system might crash. You might get sick. You might feel exhausted. You might feel a fatigue so deep you can't get out of bed. The enemy will say, "See, you are too weak to make this move. You are dying." No, you are not dying. You are detoxing. Your body is finally safe enough to process the trauma it has been storing. Do not let the fatigue stop you. Rest, but do not retreat. Treat your body like a soldier recovering from battle, not a victim of a plague. And finally, the 7th form of resistance. This is the big one. The imposter syndrome. As you get closer to your new destination, as you get closer to the doors God is opening, you will feel completely unqualified. You will look at the new opportunities and think, "I am a fraud. I don't belong here. I am just a broken person from a broken past." This is the enemy trying to shame you out of the room God has invited you into. Remember, God does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. If you feel unqualified, it means you are in the right room, because your reliance will be on Him, not on your resume. Now you have the full map. You have the 7 forms of resistance. You know exactly what the enemy is going to throw at you. But knowledge is not enough. You need the fear of God to keep you moving. Because the only thing scarier than fighting these battles is what happens if you refuse to fight them. I need to tell you a story about a chosen one who ignored the divine eviction notice. Let us call him Thomas. Thomas felt the urge to move 3 years ago. He felt the heaviness. He saw the signs. He heard the messages just like this one. But Thomas was afraid. He was afraid of the guilt. He was afraid of the financial dip. So he made a compromise. He said, God, I will stay here and be a light in the darkness. I will just endure it a little longer. Thomas thought he was being noble. But delayed obedience is disobedience. Because he stayed in an environment that was toxic to his spirit began to atrophy. First, he lost his joy. Then, he lost his vision. He stopped dreaming. He stopped praying with fire. He became cynical. He became exactly like the people he was supposed to leave. But it didn't stop at his spirit. It moved to his body. Because he was living in a constant state of biological mismatch, his body began to attack itself. The stress of suppressing his calling manifested as a chronic autoimmune disease. He spent his savings on treatments for a sickness that was rooted in his location. 3 years later, the company he was trying to save fired him anyway. The friends he was trying to please betrayed him anyway. He lost everything he was trying to protect because he tried to protect it without God. He ended up broken, bitter, and sick, not because the enemy defeated him, but because he refused to evacuate when the siren sounded. Chosen one, let that story burn into your conscience. The cost of obedience is high, but the cost of disobedience is everything. Do not be Thomas. Do not let your fear of the unknown rob you of your future. You have to move. And you have to move now. But how? How do you move when you have bills to pay, responsibilities to manage, and eyes watching you? You cannot just burn the house down today. You need a strategy. You need a protocol that allows you to build the new while you are still legally bound to the old. I am giving you the Ark Protocol. Think about Noah. God told Noah to build an ark because rain was coming. Noah didn't quit his job and sit on a hill waiting for rain. He built the ark while the sun was shining. He built it in silence. He built it while his neighbors were mocking him. He built it one plank at a time. The Ark Protocol is the strategy of silent construction. For the next 30 days, you are going to live a double life. Outwardly, you will show up. You will do your job. You will smile. You will be responsible. You will not announce your departure. You will not post about your big moves on social media. You will be a ghost in the system. But inwardly and secretly, you are building. Every morning before the world wakes up, you are laying a plank. You are updating your resume. You are researching the new city. You are saving 20% of your income into a freedom fund that no one knows about. You are connecting with new mentors in secret. You are building your exit vehicle right in the middle of your Egypt. This requires discipline. It requires you to shut your mouth. The enemy cannot sabotage what he cannot see. Stop broadcasting your moves. Stop telling people who do not believe in you about the vision God gave you. They will only hand you nails to seal your coffin. Keep the vision hidden. Build in the dark so you can launch in the light. When Noah finished the ark, the rain came. He was ready. He didn't have to panic. He just stepped inside, and the water that destroyed everyone else became the water that lifted him up. That is your goal. You are building the vessel that will carry you to your destiny when the inevitable collapse of your current season happens. So, here is your mission. Tonight, identify one plank you can lay for your ark. Just one. Is it an email you need to send? Is it a domain name you need to buy? Is it a conversation you need to have with a mentor? Do it in silence. Do it without fanfare. Lay the plank. And tomorrow, lay another one. You now have the map of the enemy's minefield. You have the Ark Protocol to build your escape vehicle. You have the fear of God to keep you from becoming a Thomas. You are more equipped than 99% of believers. But there is one final piece missing. You have the map and you have the vehicle, but you are missing the fuel. Without this specific spiritual fuel, even the best strategy will fail. You will start the engine, but it will sputter and die halfway up the mountain. If you do not have this final ingredient, you will turn back the moment the rain starts falling. You have the map, you have the vehicle, but the fuel is missing. And without this fuel, you will sit in the driveway of your destiny until the tires rot. The fuel you need is not motivation. It is not inspiration. The fuel you need is urgency. You need to understand in your bones that this is not a rehearsal. This is the final curtain call for this season of your life. You are operating under the illusion that you have time. You tell yourself, I will start the Ark Protocol next month. I will deal with the 7 forms of resistance when I feel stronger. I will move when the economy gets better. That is the voice of the enemy singing you a lullaby while your house burns down. I need you to hear me clearly. You do not have time. The window of opportunity that God has opened for you is not a barn door that stays open forever. It is a portal. And in the spirit realm, portals operate on Kairos time, not Chronos time. Chronos is clock time. It ticks on forever. Kairos is a divine moment, a specific intersection of preparation and opportunity. When a Kairos window opens, you have to jump. If you hesitate, the window closes and it might not open again for another 10 years. You are sitting in a burning building. You smell the smoke. You see the flames licking the doorframe. That is the discomfort you feel. That is the biological mismatch. But instead of running to the exit, you are sitting on the couch checking the weather forecast. You are rearranging the furniture on the deck of the Titanic. God is screaming, move, and you are asking for a 5-year plan. The reason I am speaking to you with this intensity right now is because I see what happens if you stay. I see the timeline you are currently on, and it does not end with a breakthrough. It ends with a breakdown. The urgency is real. The lease is up. The grace has lifted. The angels are waiting for your movement to release the protection. But if you stay in Sodom when the fire falls, even the angels cannot save you from your own stubbornness. We need to do something dangerous right now. We need to time travel. I want to show you the ghost of your future if you refuse to engage the divine eviction. I want you to feel the weight of the regret so that it scares you into action. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. If you are driving, keep them open, but shift your focus inward. I want you to visualize yourself 5 years from today. Imagine you decided to stay. Imagine you ignored the discomfort. You gave in to the guilt trips. You took the financial bribe. You chose safety over destiny. Look at that version of you in the mirror 5 years from now. Look at their eyes. The light is gone. There is a dull grey film of resignation over their pupils. Look at their posture. They are slumped over, carrying the weight of a life they were never meant to live. They are still in the same city. They are still in the same toxic job. They are still having the same circular conversations with the same draining people. But it is worse now, because 5 years ago they had a fire, they had a dream. Now that fire is cold ash. They have become bitter. They are jealous of everyone else who was brave enough to move. They look at you with tears streaming down their face, and they are screaming at you. They are saying, "Why didn't you move when you had the chance? Why did you sentence us to this prison? Why were you so afraid of the unknown that you chose a familiar hell?" Feel that grief. Feel that heavy, suffocating blanket of regret. That is the bitterness of a potential that was murdered by hesitation. That version of you is dying a slow death of mediocrity. Now, open your eyes. Shake that off. Breathe. That future has not happened yet. That timeline is not locked. You are the only person in the universe who has the power to delete that future right now. You can grab that timeline and snap it in half over your knee. You are standing at the fork in the road. One path leads to that grey, bitter ghost. The other path leads to the Ark. The fact that you are feeling this fear right now is good. Let the fear of regret be greater than the fear of the unknown. Let the image of that broken future version of you chase you out of your comfort zone. You are not moving because it is easy. You are moving because the alternative is a spiritual death. We are about to do something that will shift the atmosphere in your room. We are transitioning from information to impartation. The teaching is over. The briefing is finished. You know the diagnosis. You know the enemy. You have the protocols. Now, we need to seal this in the courts of heaven. This is not a YouTube video anymore. This is a divine appointment. The algorithm did not bring you here. The Holy Spirit dragged you here because He refuses to let you miss this window. We are about to enter into a covenant of movement. We are going to seal your decision so that the enemy cannot talk you out of it tomorrow morning. I need you to change your position. If you are lying down, sit up. If you are sitting up, stand up. If you are driving, I want you to grip that steering wheel with the authority of a captain steering a ship through a storm. Do not be passive. Your body language dictates your spiritual authority. You cannot command a devil while you are slouching. You cannot break a chain while you are distracted. Put your phone down or set it in a place where you can hear me clearly, but do not look at the comments. Do not look at the recommended videos. Lock your eyes on the horizon. Imagine you are standing before the Red Sea. The water is raging. The enemy is closing in behind you. But you are calm. You are holding the staff of authority. You are about to give the command. You are about to signal to the heavens that you are ready to cross over. The angels are taking their positions. The cloud of witnesses is watching. The atmosphere is heavy with the glory of God. Do not let your mind wander. This is the most critical moment of the entire process. We are about to execute the activation ceremony. We are going to seal the Ark Protocol. We are going to bind the 7 forms of resistance. And we are going to declare your exodus. Stay in this posture. Do not move. Do not click away. The court is seated. The books are open. Your destiny is on the table. It is time to sign the contract. Father, we stand before you right now, not as victims begging for scraps, but as your chosen ones reporting for duty. The atmosphere in this room has shifted. The heavy fog of confusion is evaporating, and the fire of conviction is falling. We acknowledge that this is a divine appointment. We acknowledge that you have stopped us in our tracks not to punish us, but to position us. Lord, you see this chosen one. You know the exact weight of the suffocating heaviness they have carried for months. You know the tears they cried in the parking lot when they could not bring themselves to walk into that building. You know the guilt that has twisted their stomach into knots because they felt like they were abandoning their post. You saw them when they tried to be loyal to a dead season. You saw them when they tried to fix a nest that you were stirring. But today they have heard your voice. They have received the divine eviction notice, and they have accepted it. In the mighty authority of the Most High God, I now execute the sealing of this word over their spirit. I seal the divine ejection protocol over their life. I declare that the discomfort they feel is no longer a burden, but a compass. I decree that the spirit of paralysis is broken right now. The chains of hesitation that held their feet to the floor are shattered by the power of the anointing. I seal the 3-day detachment rule over their heart. Give them the supernatural strength to sever the emotional cords that bind them to the past. I bind the spirit of Lot's wife that tries to make them look back in regret. I declare that their eyes are locked on the horizon and their neck is stiffened against the pull of nostalgia. I stand against the 7 forms of resistance that are waiting for them. I bind the spirit of guilt that speaks through the voices of loved ones. I silence it. I bind the financial mirage that tries to bribe them back into slavery. I declare that they will not sell their birthright for a pay raise. I bind the false comfort and the spirit of comparison. And I crush the head of the imposter syndrome right now. I declare that they are worthy not because of what they have done, but because of who called them. I seal the Ark Protocol over their hands. Grant them the wisdom to build in silence. Give them the strategy to construct their new life while walking through the valley of the shadow of death. Hide them in the secret place of the Most High, where the enemy cannot sabotage their plans. And now I prophesy over their next 40 days. I declare that as they move, the Red Sea will part. I declare that the resources they need are not behind them in Egypt, they are waiting for them in the wilderness. I declare that you are sending destiny partners to replace the ones they have outgrown. I prophesy that the confusion is clearing and the path is becoming illuminated with fire. I declare that the sickness in their body caused by the stress of staying is now evicted. Healing is flowing into their nervous system. Peace is returning to their sleep. Purpose is returning to their veins. Chosen one, hear the word of the Lord. You are not a refugee running away from trouble. You are a pioneer marching toward glory. The lease is up, the gate is open, the cloud is moving. I ask you now, in the presence of angels and witnesses, are you ready to move? Are you ready to leave the familiar pain for the unfamiliar promise? If you are ready, open your mouth and say yes out loud right now. Heaven heard that. The contract is signed. The seal is set. You are dismissed from your wilderness. You are released from your obligation to the past. Do not look back. Do not hesitate. Go.